I used to be a full-time nanny, and in 2020, I started working for a new mama. I really enjoyed working for her, and one day when I got to her house, the baby was still sleeping. So I just quietly sat at her kitchen table, and she had this Ayurvedic cookbook. Now, at the time, I was not super familiar with Ayurvedic cooking, but I quickly became obsessed and began learning all about Indian herbs, spices, and dals. This was one of the first dishes that I learned to make, and I got it from Divya cookbook, What to Eat for How You Feel. The ingredients are all the same, however, I have played with different measurements over time, so this is my own take on it. To begin with, it is very important to soak the lentils. This gets off any excess dirt, and soaking them activates an enzyme called phytase, which helps break down lactic acid. And this makes the lentils more bioavailable and easier to digest. And it also helps break down the starch. Personally, I like to thoroughly clean my lentils before I soak them. This is just personal preference, but you can soak the lentils overnight and then clean them the following day. I had some extra time, so I just chose to front load and clean them the day before. I started out with 1 cup of red lentils and 1 cup of yellow split mung dal. I have some ginger root, turmeric root, Thai chiles, 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder, 2 teaspoons of fennel, about a half a teaspoon of black peppercorn, a sprig of curry leaves, and 4 black cardamom pods. All the ingredients can be found at your local Indian market. First, I begin by peeling the ginger and turmeric root. I then grate it. I slice the Thai chiles and then de-seed them. Now, be careful not to put your hands in your eyes or your genital area after cutting them, because it won't be pleasant. I actually learned that the hard way. But I have learned that washing your hands with soap and water and then pouring alcohol and witch hazel takes the sting out of your hands. I then use a knife to crack open my black cardamom pods. Now, black cardamom is packed with antioxidants and it has a smoky, pungent flavor. I do have a mortar and pestle, but when I have many spices that need to be ground, I like to use this handy-dandy spice grinder. So I just pour the fennel and black pepper into the grinder. Now that the lentils have soaked overnight, I am giving them another quick rinse. After I pour them into my stainless steel pan, I cover it with water. If I had to guesstimate, it looks to be about 4 to 5 cups of water. Next, we will prepare the tadka. Tadka is basically the practice of tempering spices. Usually this is cooking the spices in butter or ghee. I'm using this ghee from the Indian market, and the ghee adds a really nice nutty flavor. I love ghee. Dee loves butter more than ghee, but I love ghee. I then saute the curry leaves, ginger, turmeric root, and spices in the ghee. Now, as the lentils cook, there will be foam. You can see there is quite a bit, so just scoop the foam off. I now pour the tadka into the lentils, and also feel free to add some salt to taste. If you guys know me, my favorite salt is Celtic. I like to continuously stir as it cooks, and I like to put the lid on to begin the process of making it thicker. Once you put the lid on, don't go far. Keep coming back every few minutes to stir so that it doesn't stick. And then turn the fire off, and don't worry, it will reach a nice level of thickness. As you can see, it kind of stays a little bit watery, but just turn that fire off and put the lid on and the water will absorb into the lentils. I wanted to add a bit more ghee because I like that nutty flavor, and it's really good to have fat with protein. So I'm sorry I don't have footage of this after it sitting for about 3 hours, but it does become even more creamy. Add this over your favorite rice and enjoy. It is really delicious.